Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 42. Hall of Famer Paul Warfield's number, one of the best ever to play that position for the Dolphins. It is Sunday, August 13th. Dolphins back at practice, an unscheduled practice. And Omar, after what we saw, maybe they shouldn't have bothered and just left it as a day off, right?
No. I think you needed the work, and more importantly, you needed to kind of iron out whatever the issue is with the offense. We saw Tua take every single snap today during the bubble work. Unfortunately for Tua, it was not a very good day. I can't sit here and say that it was a byproduct of whatever the defense was doing, because it was not. The quarterback was just off.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And as Omar mentioned, yes, Tua did take every single solitary rep every time it was a team situation, even 7-on-7.
Yeah.
There was no Skylar, no Mike White.
There was every rep of practice he took. Every rep. Yes. And maybe that's a byproduct of Mike White and Skylar Thompson playing in that game. Skylar Thompson took a lick. I don't know if he
did. The last sack. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he took a lick, like a real nice lick. So hopefully it's nothing health related, but Tua was sucky today. And it wasn't just the interceptions. There were 3. Noah Igbenogany got the first one. Javon Holland got the second one. Deshaun Elliott got the third one on a tip. He was, it was the sacks too. It was the misfires. There are passes that were dribblers. So it was an un-Tua-esque performance, and they got to get it figured out.
Yeah, they do. Okay, let's do some bookkeeping stuff before we continue. And there's a lot.
We got a lot of bookkeeping stuff, though.
Okay,
we got a lot.
Okay, well, no, I meant first of all for the podcast. We're on YouTube on the All Dolphins podcast. Subscribe, download, like, share, whatever it is you need to do.
Click the little bell so you get the alert. I didn't know that was what the bell was for, where it sends you a text when the episode is updated. These things are important to us because this is how we get money.
And we like doing that. We like talking Dolphins, and we like
talking Dolphins, and we like making it worthwhile for you. But make it worthwhile for us.
Yes. Also, where you get your audio podcast on the Fans First Sports Network under Miami Dolphins Insider as well. Bookkeeping in terms of player attendance. We'll start with Jalen Waddle. Did not practice. He did appear at one point and wasn't.
And I would not, at this point, I think that this is more injury than just precaution. And the way that he's walking, I know his whole rookie year, everybody got all bothered by the fact that I said Jalen Waddle walks like he's still hurt. And maybe that's the case. Mm-hmm. But he looks like he's favoring that right side.
Let's just say that we can say without unequivocally that we observed him walking very gingerly. I think that's a fair way.
Yes. And this is the second straight day.
Correct. Without speculating, because we don't want to do that. But we could observe him walking gingerly. No Brandon Jones at practice. No Alec Ingle. Remember, he left the joint practice early, the second of the 2 joint practices against the Falcons. No Braylon Sanders. No
Dan Feeney.
No Dan Feeney. No Myles Gaskin. Raheem Mostert was back practicing after he didn't practice in the second of the 2 joint practices and didn't play in the preseason opener. Rookie cornerback Ethan Bonner also back in action and also practicing, albeit on a limited basis, only like DB stuff. Much to my pleasant surprise was Cam Smith after head coach Mike McDaniel had told us. And I know I see you're making a face here, but just the mere fact that he was out there on the field was encouraging. And I'm going to use the glass half full approach here, not go all pessimistic. There's clearly something. He's favoring the right arm.
I want to see him go like this. That's what I want to see.
For those who can't see, Omar's raising his right arm over his head. But the bottom line, again, if the injury was that serious,
he'd be shut down completely.
Correct. So to me, that was encouraging. So that takes care of the bookkeeping stuff. Again, the big story of the practice, the 3 interceptions.
There's more bookkeeping stuff because
such as
here's what I found interesting about things that Mike McDaniel said. Also, Braxton Berrios. He's got stitches on his forehead. He cannot wear a helmet until the stitches are completely healed. Otherwise, he's going to be bloody everywhere. Yeah. And since he's a pretty boy, I hope he got those stitches. I see. I have, people don't realize this, but I got cut right here. No, most people do realize it. And
you're a pretty boy too, so there you go.
I initially had stitches, then I had to have a plastic surgeon redo the procedure, and I would strongly recommend that to Braxton because it's horrible when you've got a big slash on your forehead. So go get it properly done.
Advice from one pretty boy to another pretty boy. Is that it? Okay.
Touche.
Okay.
Hurt you in the ladies department.
Yeah, you're married now though, so but Braxton Berrios isn't. So, and I wanted to point out that, yeah, we focus on 2 and the 3 picks. There's the other side of the equation every time. And if you're not impressed by what Noah Igbinoghene is doing right now, I don't know what to tell you, gang, because it's good. And if anybody is going to point out that he gave up a completion in the preseason opener, go watch that replay and check out how good the coverage was and how it took a perfect, and I mean a window of what? Maybe half a foot where Logan Woodside could put the pass to get the completion, and he did it. Hats off to the quarterback. Still good coverage. With that coverage, that's going to be an incompletion 8 times.
Wait a minute. Are you crowning Noah Igbinoghene? Is that what you're doing?
I'm saying he has turned the corner and he looks like a different guy.
When it's in a real game, I think it's gonna be Noah to start the season. We all know favoritism in Chris Greer era goes to the draft pick. So Eli Apple is going to be coming off the bench. And we also saw our first Tyreek Eli Apple matchup today.
That's on the list of topics to discuss. Yes.
Okay. We'll get to it. Okay.
Yeah, let's go back to Noah.
Noah's playing well. Noah is not a problem. Noah and Austin Jackson might be in position to have the reclamation seasons of a lifetime for the Dolphins, both of them. I've never seen anybody dig themselves out of such bad holes. Noah's hole was worse than Austin Jackson's. Austin Jackson injury contributed to his. No injury contributed to Noah's hole. And Noah is right now, I think he's going to be the starter. I don't see Cam Smith. Sorry for all those, I want me to be glass half full. I'm not that dude. I cannot think that you put out a cornerback with a injured shoulder. That's going to hurt your run game, and it's going to hurt you coverage wise, like pressing ability.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The regular season opener is not for another 4 Sundays. Correct. It's another 4 Sundays. So the shoulder, ideally, hopefully, would be fine by then. The issue with Cam Smith's going to be is barring very, very unforeseen circumstances, he's not playing in preseason game number 2 or preseason game number 3. So that's an awful lot. It's an awful limited amount of game reps before you throw a rookie second round pick in there. So I'm with you there. And this is where I'm going to bring in Eli Apple and we can have the Hill Apple discussion. I like Eli Apple. Every time I see him at practice, the guy is good in coverage. So today, yes, we did get our one-on-one battles. We had 3 reps that I noticed. I don't know if I missed one. I don't believe so. And 2 of them were red zone drills. And the first one, Apple got up on his grill at the line of scrimmage and basically had him covered like a blanket to win. And Tua held the ball, and eventually, I believe it was a play where he wound up throwing somewhere else, or what it would have been one of those would-be sacks. And then the one that's making the rounds on the Dolphins social media account is the back shoulder throw in the corner of the end zone where the coverage wasn't bad either.
It was just a perfect throw.
It was a nice throw, good throw, good catch. And then the other one was on like an out pattern in the open field for, I don't know, 8 to 10 yards, which no great crime in giving that up to Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with Eli Apple. And we also should bring up the fact that Jamal Perry was signed by the Dolphins. And this is an important signing from a number of standpoints. I know he's Jamal Perry and people don't think about him. People don't care about him. But Jamal Perry, remember, he moved back to free safety. He's got cornerback experience. He's got nickel experience. And he's a gunner.
And he's a good special teams player. Yes.
He's a good special team player. More importantly, he's a gunner. And let's say you move Elijah Campbell to the starting safety spot, which I would do. That's what I would do, especially Brandon Jones is not necessarily where you need to be from a medical standpoint.
Right.
If you put Elijah Jones back there as the safety pair with Javon Holland, now he can't work as a gunner. Gunner is probably the most important position on special teams because that's the guy who gets in the returner's grill. He's got to fight off two, and then he's got to have the toughness to fight off two and get in the returner's grill to prevent the punt returner from getting yardage. It is not a job that everybody in the NFL can do. And so I'm glad to have Jamal Perry back. And I would say he probably might not make the 53, but you're damn sure he probably might make the make a practice squad because on game day he might be needed for a call up.
And that's what he's been with the Dolphins in his first stints. I mean, he's played 3 years for the Dolphins. He was out of the NFL last year, didn't play, joined the Dolphins practice squad in mid-October, didn't wind up being elevated. Yeah, again, you sign a guy at this time of year, generally speaking, is to give him a look. There's no lock he's making the 53, but there's, no reason to say he absolutely can't. And that's another bookkeeping part that I omitted, and I apologize. Along with Jamal Perry, they also signed wide receiver Kiki Kute, formerly of the Houston Texans and the Colts. And he's a guy he had like about 20 or 30 catches his first 3 years in the NFL. Last 2 years, despite playing 30 games, he's got a combined 2 catches. So as a guy who's fallen off the cliff.
But he's got experience as a returner. And with Braxton Berrios sidelined, now you're handing your returners to River Craycraft and Mr. Cedric Wilson. So
punt returns and A-chain on kickoff returns. But here's the thing is, but Braxton Berrios is the scar here on the forehead. I'm going to guess the stitches are going to be healed up by the time the regular season starts.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
But I don't see him playing in the next 2 exhibition seasons.
No, that's fine. They don't need him to. To be perfectly blunt, I kind of have my doubts that this was anything more than a camp signing because they're really low in numbers at wide receiver with not only Berrios and Waddle sideline, but also Braylon Sanders, who got hurt last week.
Waddle, Sanders, they just lost Freddie Swain, who I actually thought was pretty decent.
Injured.
Injured. So yeah, they're hitting the number. I mean, we know corner, and this is the story of every single training camp. Cornerbacks and wide receivers go down, which is why you always say you can never have enough. There's a reason why there are 12 of them on the roster, 12 in each unit. And
no, there's like 20, there's over 20 DBs on the roster. Look it up.
Yeah.
20 DBs. That's which is crazy, but go ahead.
Does it look like they have enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
They kind of need a couple more.
Oh, I forgot Justin Bethel also didn't practice today. And Teron Armstead did not do any teamwork.
Yes.
To be
so it'll be interesting to see what happens. As I wrote in yesterday's takeaways and my stock report, which I included a coordinator in the stock report
on alldolphins.com.
On alldolphins.com, where you can get free work as opposed to paying for it at some of these outlets. Special teams is a problem. And I was a little disappointed today that there was only one special teams period because I thought today would have been a great time to go over 3 periods of special teams work. We usually, back in the day, we'd have, during the Joe Philbin era and the Tony Sperano era, the day after a game becomes a heavy special teams practice. And where we go over assignments, we go over alignments, we go over positioning, we go over wedges. We go over everything, and that wasn't the case. And I was kind of disappointed because I thought they played poorly on special teams against the Falcons, and not just in the exhibition game, but all week. I watched them get dominated all week, and it was puzzling to me that they didn't do that.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it's interesting because I don't recall under Mike McDaniel a practice that was heavy on special teams. And I seem to recall there were plenty of those when Brian Flores was a head coach.
Yeah, Flores, Philbin. Yeah, it's you put your time and energy on things that are important to you. And right now I have to question whether they are acting as if special teams is important to them. And I know you're not going to get a ton of it you're going to get 2 periods a day when you do joint practice against Houston. Okay, are we doing walkthrough special team stuff? Is that what we're doing?
No, maybe, but then you asked Mike McDaniel at the press conference before practice about the importance of special teams, and he told the answer was what you'd expect a head coach to say. Of course, it's important. It's like,
yeah, but he makes a valid point, which is what I don't understand a lot of times with these young players and these backups, like for instance, Noah, when you weren't playing, you should be killing yourself to be a gunner. You should be raising your hand like, hey, you need a gunner? I'm here. Let me go be a gunner. Like, Channing Tindall, like, young man, you've got athleticism out the wazoo. Mitchell Agude, you have athleticism out the wahoo. Go in there and bust up a wedge. Like, go in there. I watched Eric Saubert the first kickoff where it was an impressive kickoff. He was the personal protector right in front of a chain. Got blown the hell up. And I said to myself, whoa, you're a number 3 tight end and you're getting blown up on special teams? Like, I'm sorry, you don't belong on the roster if that's what we can expect from you on special teams. You don't even need to be here because you're not doing anything as a tight end. Like, what's going on here? And yeah, it's one play, but I mean, you can't get decleated on a kickoff return by one guy.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like it was tag team. He got decleated by one dude. Like, you either want to be in the NFL or you don't want to be in the NFL. And special teams is an area where you have to be tough to go out there and play.
No, without question. But I mean, I don't recall the play that you're talking about. I mean,
it was the very first kickoff.
No, I know that, but I wasn't zoning in on the Saubert, so I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll go back and look at it.
Oh.
But I mean, there's a difference between questioning the guy's effort and toughness, and maybe it was a technique issue where he wasn't properly set, and which is why he got knocked off balance. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what his reputation is as far as a special teams guy. I believe he has a lot of experience at it.
He's got like 200 snaps a year, which is a respectable level. But my point is, I don't see, name me 6 guys on this team other than Justin Bethel and Elijah Campbell that are here that say, I'm ready to put in that work on special teams. They're not here. Duke Riley.
Van Ginkel, Duke Riley.
Okay. Van Ginkel, Duke Riley, Elijah Campbell, Justin Bethel, who, you don't know if he's going to be on the 53 or not. Okay. Keon Crossan. Okay. I need some linebackers. I need some tight ends.
Not for 3 weeks. So
yeah, I need some linebackers. I need some tight ends. I need some safeties. Like, this is where you make you could have. Look at Justin Bethel, 12-year career. 12 years in the NFL.
Matthew Slater. I mean, that's basically, he's made his career there. Moving on to the ever popular topic of the offensive line, with the preface that we can't discuss who lined up where with what unit. I was struck and kind of figured as much, but it was an even bigger stamp when Mike McDaniel said before the game, before practice, the reason Kendall Lamb didn't work is because they needed to look at the younger guys, and basically we know what we have in them. Yes, you're applauding.
He basically saying, Kendall Lamb, you've done enough.
Pretty much,
enough, young man.
Yeah.
And
if fans didn't realize that guy was going to be on the 53, deal with it if you're not a fan, because he's going to be on the 53.
He's pretty good, man. I props to him. Like, and I love, you've been still discouraging me from writing about him since day one, but I like people who put their head down and work. And Kendall Lamb has put his head down and worked every single day. It doesn't look the same at right tackle as it looks at left tackle, but I like what I've seen at left tackle. And I'm excited to see him play in the rest of the exhibition games, because he's going to have to handle the low, because Teron Armstead ain't sniffing the snapping in the exhibition season.
No.
So he's going to have to handle these final 2 games. And I'm excited to see it.
No, and it was interesting too, because McDaniel also was asked what he thought of the performances of Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson. And he basically said what you would expect him to say, because McDaniel's MO as a head coach is he's not going to criticize his players publicly. Some coaches do that. And a lot of coaches will not go there. He won't go there. He will talk about, I think he made the comment about loving the fact that Austin Jackson had a bad rep because he could learn from it. And that might be the extent of the criticism that he's going to do with these guys. So it's very difficult to get a gauge.
Watching him talk about Liam Eichenberg was funny and fun because he was trying to find something nice to say. And it's, how do you handle a guy who's lost his confidence?
But dude, he did say he's playing the best he's played. And he said it, did you not hear him say that? He also said his technique is better than it was at this time last year. That's what the man, and again, this is part of the thing when you're dealing with a head coach who's MO, and that's perfectly fine. Each coach got to do it the way they want to do it. His MO is to not publicly criticize guys. I mean, should I say even remotely? So it's basically going to be up to us using our eyes, what we see on the field, using what we see, how the reps are being divided to kind of form our opinion as to what it looks like in terms of the battle for the starting left guard job.
I'm concerned about backup center, by the way, because Dan Feeney's not working.
And how about I'm concerned about starting center personally? There was a rep today where Raekwon Davis just completely abused Connor Williams in pass protection. And Raekwon Williams is not necessarily known as a pass rusher. And he just got by him like, excuse me, you're in my way. Get out. I need to go get that quarterback. And I made the comment today to a couple of guys. I think Connor Williams has gotten a free pass in camp. I have not been impressed.
Well, we shall see in Houston. Can't hide.
No, he couldn't hide last week against Atlanta, and I'm trying to remember, he didn't stand out to me one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't think he had. We got a month before the season. Let's see. Connor talked today, and he talked about they want to be a nasty line. They want to set the tone. They want to own the line of scrimmage, as does everybody. And I really did think that they did well run blocking. I thought that they had an effective day run blocking against the Falcons. Pass protection needs a little work. But I also was very pleasantly surprised and pleased with Austin Jackson. I think he played Austin Jackson. This is a different Austin Jackson. This is a confident Austin Jackson. And I like him to continue to have his confidence. We also, in a housekeeping nature, have not pointed out that Christian Wilkins continues to not take reps on 11-11.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to let you dive into that because it's a very important discussion. But I want to go back real quickly to Liam Eichenberg because we've been dumping on him a little bit. And I want to point out that I made it a point to just focus in on him on the 14 snaps he was in the game, on the replay of the game, and he did not miss one assignment. It's not like he blew up anybody at the line of scrimmage or put somebody on his ass, but he did not mess up one single assignment. So, Christian Wilkins, go ahead.
There are only two things that could be taking place right now when we're now officially on our third day of Christian Wilkins' very super limited practices where he's not doing contact work. Either.
Okay, that's a Freudian slip right there if there was one. Oh, you just gave it away right there.
Yeah. Either he's battling an injury, which we can eventually get clarification on, or he said, show me my money. And
he's doing contract work.
Yes, contract. And I'm in full support of players making business decisions until the regular season gets here and business pushes. And if I'm Christian Wilkins, I'm just saying, I'm going to put my helmet on and become a sick and twisted individual. And what Christian calls himself, I'm not practicing against another team, and I'm not playing in the exhibition season. And Christian has every right to do that. In the new CBA, as long as you show up for work, there's no guarantee that you have to participate in work. Yeah, according to the new CBA, now you cannot not show up for work. That's a $50,000 a day fine. But you can show up for work, attend team meetings, stand around on practice field. Nobody can make you practice. And Christian's doing individual drills. He's doing stuff with his team, but you can't make me go in on 11-on-11s.
Which he didn't, because I know you mentioned like joint practices. He didn't do any of those today either, not one. And we kept looking for him. And I had my eyeballs on him on the sideline, and he's jumping and chest bumping, celebrating plays by his teammates on the defense. Didn't look like somebody was nursing anything physical.
And I'm fully in support of it, because this is the time where the days are numbered before, you're putting your if Christian Wilkins goes out there in a joint practice and suffers a rib injury like Jalen Waddle did, then what? Let's say he breaks his ribs. And then let's say
we're getting 10.7 million. And this is where I put my GM hat on and say, Christian, we love you, buddy. We will address your contract in due time, but you're under contract and you're guaranteed 10.7 million this year.
Correct. And I'm saying, okay, fine. If you're not going to give me guarantees for the future years, you're not going to give me my $60 million guaranteed, which is what I want, then I'm not playing until the regular season gets here. Why am I putting my way in harm's way for nothing other than my salary? So when it's time to earn my salary, I'll show up for work. And I understand he has every single right to do this.
I understand that. Here's the issue though. Okay, then what if Robert Hunt decides, and you know what? I want a new contract. I want to do the same thing. Connor Williams,
he can.
I want a new contract. Zach Sealer is way more underpaid than Christian Wilkins.
He can. They all can. Raekwon Davis, throw them on.
And how does that?
If every single one of them decided to take that stance, I would firmly and fully support them in doing so. Because
how do you think that helps your team prepare for the start of the regular season?
I don't care. You listen, I don't care. You've got $13 million in cap space. Somebody gonna get it. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure it's me. Before Tua comes at the table and says, hey, give me my $45 million a year. Because when Tua comes at the table and says, I want my $45 million a year, you know what you're gonna say? Yes, sir. Here it is.
If he produces, yes, absolutely.
So, and where does that leave me as Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, Robert Hunt, Connor Williams?
Here's the problem with that. You can't take care of everybody. And with all due respect, that's a selfish attitude. And don't tell me you're a team player. If
you're saying Christian's not a team player?
If he's indeed holding in because he wants a new contract when he's guaranteed 10.7 million. Not crazy.
But my peers are getting 18.5. You want me to be happy with 10.7?
That's the game. That's the contract. Because you're saying Christian's not doing anything wrong. The Dolphins didn't do anything wrong. They didn't invent the 50-year option. Okay, they had the right to use it.
Why did all these other teams sign their defensive tackles to multi-year extensions instead of having them play on the 5th-year option? But why am I the only one that has to play on the 5th-year option? What did I do wrong? That's
a fair argument, and this is where the Dolphins would come back. Well, listen, we're trying to put together a team that can make a championship run, and that involves going out.
What does that have to do with my generational wealth?
But see, if you're going
and protecting
me, that's again, don't tell me you're a team player. You're going me, my.
My team is the Wilkinses. My team is the Hunts. My team is the Williams. My team is the Davises.
I understand that. Again, you can't take care of everybody.
That's not my problem.
Could the argument not be made again that Zach Sealer deserves a raise right now way more than Christian Wilkins?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
I'm not, but everybody, they are 53 franchises, and everybody needs it. Like Keon Cross, you know what my stance on that. Boy, you be a fool, get back on the practice field. Get that. Come on, you know you're gonna shake you down. Go on IR.
So
Get your money.
fans know Keon Cross has got a contract on for like, I think it's $3 million, but it's not guaranteed. If he winds up spending the season on IR, he's getting paid.
They cut you. You're a minimum player. Boy, you'd be crazy to step your foot out there on the practice field. Like,
That's to me, that's a different topic. And I
that's
get
business. That's business.
I understand that. Correct. And it's business from the Dolphin standpoint too. I don't think it's a black and white issue that Wilkins is
But it's okay when the team makes business decisions, but it's not okay when the players make business decisions. That's my issue that I've always had a problem with, particularly with the fans. And understand, my position. I'm not signing Christian Wilkins for $18.5 million because I already have him locked up for $16 million okay, on the 5th-year option and on the franchise tag.
Right.
Now, whether the Dolphins can exercise the franchise tag, they're going to have to do a lot of work to do that because that's a lot of money up front. So, that and $32 million, you're basically $50 million over the cap. If you're planning to exercise the 5th-year option on Christian,
right,
the franchise tag on Christian. So that's a lot of work to get done. So yes, it would benefit you to do the deal now. We all know the Dolphins will make their best offer days before the regular season approaches. If I'm Christian, I ain't working till I get an offer.
Correct. And here's the other point that needs to be made. And I'm not like the team's always right, the player's always wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like that at all. I'm just trying to see both sides. The gamble that Christian is taking is if not getting team reps hurts him in terms of his performance on the field, because if he doesn't perform, it's going to cost him money in the long run. So that's a gamble he's taken. Obviously, the Dolphins would prefer he would be doing the team reps because they want to peak efficiency. It's not, at this point, it's not a major issue. Again, because there's still a month before the start of the regular season. And he was, again, we can't stress enough just how good he was in the first 2 weeks of camps. So, and
he made his statement. He did the job.
Correct. That's exactly what he did. He said, "You guys, this is what you're going to be signing. Give me my money." So, no, understood. What else stood out to you at practice today?
The Eli Apple, Tyreek Hill matchup. We finally got it. It felt like Tyreek wanted to slap him on the hiney after he scored the touchdown, but he kind of
I was looking for it, and then
it was like he was about to go, and then he was like, "All right, you know what? Let me not even go there." I still continue to watch this safety situation. Very uncomfortable. And I know fans think Brandon Jones is going to show up and put on a cape and solve all their problems.
Yeah.
I don't think he is, because what they have Javon Holland doing leads me to believe that you're going to have a safety play center field, like the Bobby McCain-esque, just don't let anybody get behind me safety. And that's not Deshaun Elliott, and that's not Brandon Jones. Now, who is it? It could be Elijah Campbell. It could be Trill Williams. I don't know. But I don't like what I see in that area. I don't like what I see on special teams. Channing Tindall, we watched one particular rep where Duke basically reamed them out after they allowed the defense to score a touchdown.
Allowed the offense, yeah. He had one nice pass breakup in the middle of the field. Here's the thing. Two quick things. When it comes to safety, to me, Javon Holland's going to be the center fielder, but on those plays, I'm with you on those plays.
Are you watching?
Without question.
Are you watching though? Because he's doing doing something a lot different than what you think he's doing.
I'm worried about giving away too much of
what. I'm not yet.
Javon Holland's going to be in the back quite a bit. And now I lost my train of thought and I forgot what I was going. Oh, here's a question for you, which I found interesting. Do you remember what Mike McDaniel said about Robbie Chosen not playing Saturday night? Friday night. It's about he's dealing with some minor stuff. He looked to me like he was a full participant in practice today. So I'm like confused.
Maybe there is something. But McDaniel doesn't have a lying track record. So
no, I don't. It was weird. Maybe it was something minor and he was fine today.
At this point, with Waddle down, with Berrios down, with Braylon Sanders gone, you're going to have Eric Uzukama, Cedric Wilson, and Robbie Chosen. They're going to have a full audition. River Craycraft. They all have a full audition with Tua. Like, everybody is going to get work. So all hands on deck. Robbie's healthy. He's going to be in there and working. I think we're probably even going to see some of Elijah Higgins probably even do some work at receiver, because I think it transcends and translates what he's doing. Yeah, he can get out there and run some routes. Do you think they have enough receivers right now?
We'll see Kiki Kute out there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Former fourth round pick.
Former what round pick?
Fourth round pick of the
Okay.
Houston Texans. He's going to be facing his former team in the joint practices. There you go. And
Yeah.
X is going back to his hometown of Houston.
I wonder how much X is going to work.
I think, if I recall, against the Falcons, he did like the normal amount of work.
Yes, he did. Question is, do you play your starters this one? Do you do the dry run audition this one or next week against Jacksonville? I don't know, because seems like Mike McDaniel's kind of making it up as he goes. So
yeah, I don't know either. I can't get a read. And then last year, somebody pointed out to me, corrected me actually, Tua didn't play in the preseason opener last year, but he did play 2 series in the second game, and then he played again in that preseason finale against the Eagles when it was basically the Dolphins starters against the Eagles backup, and the Dolphins was 27-0 at the half. So I don't know exactly, is it going to?
Hey, if you're Mike McDaniels, if it works, why change it?
A good point, which would mean that then we would see Tua.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the running backs. Nothing really stood on our practice today from the running backs. It was funny. There was one carry Savon Ahmed had, and it was like, at first he started running. He's like, is that A-Chain? Oh no, it's Ahmed, because he had the orange shoes. Otherwise, again, they still look like the same guy. It's funny.
Absolutely. Mostert looked well today, looked good today. And I'm of the opinion that Mostert will be the lead back for this team. And I don't think, I've been having conversations with fans on Twitter, and they're just, Dolphin fans, they're always obsessed with their rookies. Rookies are best things since sliced bread. And name me one thing that a chain can do that Mostert can't do.
Well, and here's
the speed.
Here's a problem that happens also. CBS Sports did a story about Devon A-Chain singing his praises and all that, and the basis of the story basically is comments from teammates, including Jalen Waddle, who called him. And you're rolling your eyes, and you're correct, because you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. If you ask any player on the team about a teammate, especially a rookie, they're going to sing the praises all over the place. And just because, wow, he looks like he's going to be special.
Yes.
A-Chain looks like something special. There's your story, and all of a sudden it's done as fact. A-Chain could become special, yes, not because Jalen Waddle says so. No offense to Jalen. I mean,
yeah, I've seen maybe 3 really impressive plays from him since we've been watching, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but ask me how many I've seen from Myles Gaskin, probably about 5. And I'm not saying that Myles Gaskin is better than him, but like, let him earn it. Let the rookies earn it.
No, and the eyes tell you when you watch. I don't know about you. The eyes tell you Mostert's the best back on this team right now.
Absolutely, no question.
What else do we have here? We're about needing to wrap this up, and you're shaking your head. No, I think we pretty much covered everything else. Remember, subscribe, download, share, like, ring the bell.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Phone a friend. All Dolphins podcasts on YouTube. Fans First Sports Network, where you get your audio podcast. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we, Omar?
We shall.
Have a good one.